Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. You know, evil twins and doppelgangers are no stranger to films or television. I mean, Darkwing Duck had one in the form of Negaduck, Wreck-It Ralph had one in the form of a giant internet virus created by Arthur, Sora had one in the form of Vanitas, Scott Calvin, aka Santa Claus, had one in the form of a toy Santa, Inspector Gadget, or John Brown, had one in the form of Robo Gadget. Heck, even I had one in the form of Anti-Josh, who did have a couple of appearances on my blog series from November 2014 to September 2015, and I should know, I'm really glad that he's gone after I made my top 13 bad films that I like list. However, we still have that COVID welder to deal with, and who knows what he's gonna do next. I mean, will he get stronger, or will his virus just finally die? Anyway, there once was a time where Princess Sofia had an evil doppelganger, and of course, she's featured in the episode that I'm gonna be blogging today. Airing on television on August 1st, 2014, this is Sophia the Second. And now, on for the plot of the episode. In this, Princess Sofia is looking forward to the Highland Hootenanny. Unfortunately, her dad King Roland informs her that Lord Gilbert and his daughter Lady Joy are coming to the castle, and since she promised that she would play with Joy, he needs her to stay at the castle all day. Later, Sophia sees Cedric trying out his new copying spell on Wormwood, which gives Sophia the idea to use said spell to make a copy of herself so that she can be in two places at once. But little does Sophia know is that her copy is a little troublemaker. So, my thoughts? Well, in my opinion, this episode was not only pretty good, but it was also humorous and surprising. And to further explain why I think so, let's move on to Mustang Notes. Now, the moral of this episode is, when someone makes a promise, they are the ones who have to keep it, which to me is a lesson that's very simple. Because, as I previously stated, once I give my word about something, I stick to it, even if it means missing out on something. Also to note, this episode shares a very similar story theme to the Darkwing Duck episode Negaduck and the Santa Claus 2, where the main character gets an opposite double. Plus, this is the second episode in the series where Sophia causes trouble that affects others. The first time was in Mom's the Word. As for the animation, well, Toei on CGI is excellent as usual, and while most of this episode takes place at the Enchantian Castle, one of my favorite parts of this episode is the Highland Hootenanny, mainly due to the fact that I love country western music and dancing. Plus, I like that Ruby and Jade make a silent cameo while dancing with James. Speaking of which, let's talk about the episode's song, Keeping Promises No Matter What, which is performed by the Glass Slippers. This song tells how important it is to keeping promises to somebody, and while this is a very catchy song to listen, tap my feet, and dance to, as Princess Sofia listens to it, she regrets breaking her promise to her father to stay at the castle to be with Lady Joy. Another thing I like during the song is that Sophia and her siblings know how to square dance. Also, I must mention that this episode does contain some humorous moments, mainly from King Roland and Lord Gilbert, who kept making so many changes to a bridge model, and there's several mischievous moments from Sophia's naughty clone. Plus, I like that the episode features a cameo from Sophia's voice director, Sam Riegel, who voices the royal bridge builder. However, the only goof in this episode that I must point out is the part where Princess Sofia throws Bad Sophia into a barn with a door that cannot be locked. And that's basically all I got for Mustang Notes. So, let's move on to the cast. Princess Sofia is voiced once again by Ariel Winter, whom was young Kyrie in the Kingdom Hearts game series, Marina in Jake and the Neverland Pirates, Penny Peterson in DreamWorks' Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Marlene in the complete version of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, young Trixie in Speed Racer, and Smurf Lily from Smurfs The Lost Village. As usual, Princess Sofia is a kind and sweet princess, but at the same time, she sees her duties and responsibilities as very important. And she's also more concerned for others rather than herself, which to me makes her both selfless and sympathetic. However, while it was wrong of her to use a copying spell just so that she can go to the Hootenanny and play with Lady Joy at the same time, I'm glad that Sophia feels regret and guilt. Plus, the part where she told her dad about what she did made me smile due to her showing her honesty. It's like Merlin says, magic does not always solve your problems. Next is Sophia's naughty clone, Sophia the Worst, also voiced by Ariel Winter. Now, unlike the real Princess Sofia, who is kind and caring, this version of her is a rotten, badly behaved little girl who likes to cause trouble and wreak havoc just for fun. And there's the fact that she wears a pink dress. To me, not only is she like Negaduck and Toy Santa Claus, but she's also similar to Evil Jake from American Dragon Jake Long and Nomi Randy from Randy Cunningham 9th Grade Ninja. Plus, her title as Sophia the Worst is obviously a reference to the phony King of England from Robin Hood. Throughout this episode, Bad Sophia locks Clover in Wormwood's birdcage, she plays a trick on Cedric, she ditches Lady Joy during a game of hide and seek, and she knocks down Lord Gilbert's bridge model. Sophia's dad, King Roland II, is voiced by Travis Willingham, who voiced Foreteller of Sed in Kingdom Hearts Key and Kuko in Elena of Avalor. In this episode, King Roland is counting on Sophia to entertain and make Lady Joy feel welcomed, while he and Lord Gilbert go over some royal business. By the way, during their meeting, I kind of felt that King Roland was being a bit over the top and immature. Next is Lord Gilbert, the Duke of Ramblingham, voiced by Keith Ferguson, whom not only voiced Blue in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, but he was also Friend Owl in Bambi 2, Zuzo in Elena of Avalor, and he voiced Organization 13's Marluxia. Anyway, during this episode, Gilbert visits Enchantia to discuss plans for building a new bridge after an accident involving a parade of 204 elephants. To me, Gilbert can be equally as silly as Roland due to both rulers getting carried away with the design, and they kept making so many changes to the bridge model. Also, during the Curse of Princess Ivy special, it's revealed that Lord Gilbert doesn't really get along with King Magnus. Next is Gilbert's daughter, Lady Joy, voiced by Genevieve Knight Henalius, whom I mainly remember as Rosebud from the Air Buddies franchise. Now, this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but when I first saw this episode back in summer 2014, I, at first, thought Lady Joy would be as spoiled as Amber and Hildegard. Thank Disney I was wrong. I found Joy to be a really sweet and adorable new character in the series, and I like that she's very excitable, like a real kid. But at the same time, she's also known to have a moral compass. Plus, like most children, I like that Joy loves rabbits like Clover, and since she loves dancing, I like that Princess Sofia takes her to the Highland Hootenanny at the end of the episode. Finally, we come to Cedric the Sorcerer, voiced by Jess Harnell, aka Wacko Warner from the Animaniacs series. In this episode, While he was responsible for giving Sophia the idea of doing a copying spell, we see that Cedric is back to his usual scheme of stealing the amulet of Avalor. And while this is the very first time where Cedric physically touches said amulet, little does he know that the one in his possession is not the real amulet. Plus, when Cedric holds the bad Sophia's amulet, it doesn't activate a safeguard or curse him. However, I did like the part where Cedric uses his magic to get rid of bad Sophia. And now on to my final words. Overall, Sophia the Second is a pretty good episode. It has good CGI animation, like the rest of the series. It has a good moral on keeping promises and not putting off your responsibilities on somebody else, even yourself. It has decent funny moments, and the mean-spirited humor was spot on, due to it being caused by an evil clone. Also, I can tell that Ariel Winter was having a lot of fun voicing two different versions of Sophia, and I'm glad that the real Sophia learns from her big mistake. Also, Lady Joy was a nice new character, and the episode's song was a lot of fun and catchy, and it's also a great one to learn from. Plus, the subplot involving King Roland and Lord Gilbert planning the construction of a bridge was pretty silly, but entertaining at the same time. As for my rating, I'll give it a 94% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Join me next time where we look at the very first episode where Sophia meets the Wii Sprites. Goody. Mustang Power.